My name is Alana Grech. I chose to become a scientist because I wanted to save the world. And I thought that by becoming a scientist, specifically an environmental scientist, I could do that. The way to save humans is to save the environment that they live in. And so I chose to study environmental science as an undergraduate degree. Well, in my day-to-day work, the research that I primarily look at is marine conservation. So the tools that I use are quite geeky. That's why there's a computer behind me and lots of maps on my wall. I specialise in Geographic Information Systems, which is a bit like Google Maps, but with a lot more maths and statistics behind it as well, and a lot more functionality than Google Maps. And what I use these spatial tools to do is to map where animals are or where habitats like seagrasses are, and to assess their risk to anthropogenic impacts such as ports and shipping and fishing activities as well. So I use Geographic Information Systems to model the distribution of these species and habitats and to map them against the distributions of their threats. So you're going to love this. I primarily work on dugongs and turtles and sea snakes. I've co-written about 5 or 6 articles on sea snakes. I'm one of the world's best sea snake scientists, but don't ask me a lot about sea snakes. I might primarily work with sea snake experts and I do the mapping for them. That's one of the benefits of having skills like Geographic Information Systems, is that people that work on fascinating animals and species come and see you for help. And so I do a lot of work on sea snakes and dolphins and other marine megafauna species. Well, in the Great Barrier Reef in Northern Australia, which I primarily work in, these different species are affected by different kinds of impacts. In some areas of very remote Northern Australia, these animals are quite isolated from anthropogenic impacts. On the Southern Great Barrier Reef, these animals are more exposed to anthropogenic impacts. In the Southern Great Barrier Reef, we have a high intensity of fishing effort, both commercial and recreational. We also have large shipping lanes and large ports, such as the ports of Townsville, Abbott Point, Gladstone, and a large port near Mackay. Okay, so because I am a computer geek, I don't very often go out in the field. I do all of my work on the computer and I borrow people's data who do go out in the field. But when I was a PhD student many years ago, I used to go out in the field quite a lot because I would do dugong aerial surveys. So what this required me to do would be to get into a small plane for many hours, fly 450 feet above the sea surface and count animals out of a window. These planes were incredibly small. We would do it in November, so it would be incredibly hot and there was no toilet and you had to drink a lot of water. It was incredibly uncomfortable. So after a few seasons of doing that, I decided fieldwork wasn't exactly for me. I stopped doing it. But as a result, I got to see most of northeastern Australia's coastline. So I've seen most of the waters of the Torres Strait region, the Great Barrier Reef, and also the Gulf of Carpentaria from a very low height and with a very high sampling intensity. So I could say I've seen most of northeastern Australia's coastline, which is pretty impressive.